Welcome back to the Bridgeton Beacon. I am here with the associate editor and senior staff writer and podcast host for South Jersey Beer Scene. I've got Tom Renzulli and Vic Zabailo. Did I get that, Vic?
That's good. You got it close enough, sure.
Oh, no, well,
I say it's Spalo like J-Lo.
Found you guys, I think probably once in a while I Google South Jersey podcast. Just see what's out there. For this purpose, to find people who might come on the Beacon and, you know, shine a light on some things that we don't have a ton of expertise with. And you guys have a really cool one. South Jersey Beer Scene is a website that is basically a news site for the niche Jersey beer industry, but also you guys run a podcast and I think have a couple of flavors of what that is when different people are hosting. And been doing it for a little bit. So with that being said.
All right. Well, Tom, why don't you talk about the founding and stuff?
Sure. So it was March of 2017 when John Kashu approached me. His wife and my wife are in the same medical field, radiation oncology, and my wife actually worked with his wife's sister. So we kind of knew each other, and he said, "I'm thinking of starting a website," because what brought it about is nobody knew what was going on, and breweries were just starting to hit pretty hard in 2017. And we'd come in to work on Mondays and be like, "Oh, no, I didn't know that was going on." So that's where we really started it, to try to get the information out for people to go to these places. And then, you know, we would never rate the beers or anything like that. That wasn't our job. That's your job to do. And so we started diving more into the breweries themselves. We started 10 questions with the brewer and get a little backstory on everything, and you know, just try to bring more of the brewery South Jersey beer scene to the people.
How much of your activity is out in the field, so to speak?
It's slowed up until when COVID hit. I mean, we were jamming. We were just starting to break loose, and COVID hit, and it kind of stalled everything. And we, you know, like everybody else, we had to take the exit and try to find different ways to do things. And we did the one thing that was pretty cool. We did do a virtual beer festival where we went around to all the local breweries that participated and got beers from them, and we hosted, and we would bring them on throughout the day. And it was about 4 hours, and by the end, I was pretty lit up. It was pretty funny. If you ever get to see it, it's really funny.
That's a good
Tom
format.
and John.
Yeah.
Tom and John started it, and I joined shortly thereafter. I was and am a home brewer in Ocean County, and there wasn't a lot of coverage up in Ocean County as far as interviews, you know, talking about the breweries up there, etc. And I was also the president of the Ocean County Home Brewers Association. So what I brought into it is a little bit of a northern South Jersey, so to speak, area. And we started, and as Tom said, we were doing those podcasts fast and furious. We were probably doing at least one a month back until COVID hit. And then we switched gears a little bit during COVID, and we did a number of Zoom podcasts, which got us onto the YouTube. And Tom, we were talking about YouTube earlier, and that got us into YouTube. And, you know, for a while we were doing a lot of YouTube video shows, which we tried to keep to a half hour or so. Normally you find the video format is a little shorter than audio format, because once we got on podcasts and it's audio, you never know what direction that's going to go in. But it's great because we got to know a lot of the folks in the breweries, became very friendly with them and gave us a way of promoting the breweries, but also gave us a chance to try some fantastic beer.
It's a cool hobby, and it's also like the coolest networking thing. Like if it's something you're clearly interested in, what better way to get out there, press the flash, meet some people who are like involved in a niche where you have some passion, than to plant your own flag and say, hey, okay, we are the local publication for X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, and you're not going to find better people on earth than brewery owners and brewers themselves, especially in Cape May County area. All those breweries, they really. What was the Mets and Mets? What was that? But I mean, everybody does get along. I mean, it's great
Yes.
when we have the big festivals. It's great seeing everybody. A lot of collaborations are formed at some of these festivals between two breweries, and it's just a good vibe. It's a really good vibe.
It's nice. It's a great community. Wonderful people, like I said, that we've met throughout South Jersey and outside of South Jersey too. You know, the one year I know we were doing some podcasts and doing some YouTubes from the Atlantic City Beer Festival, and Kelsey Grammer has a brewery, Faith American.
Okay.
And I actually did get 5 minutes or so to sit with Kelsey Grammer and to do an interview with him, which was pretty cool. You know, that's probably the most famous person that we've ever had on, except no, that's probably the most famous person we've ever had.
Doesn't he send you Christmas cards, Vic?
He sends me a Christmas card. He invites me. He invites me to his Christmas dinner and Thanksgiving and everything. So we're like this. We're like this.
Where's he going to be, Vic?
I don't know.
You should know.
I should know. I hear from him all the time.
And he's got four.
He's got 4 beers. Was he in Atlantic City last month?
He was at the Irish pub, but he's going to be. Yeah. God, where's he going to be? I just saw it. He's going to be somewhere pouring beers.
Kelsey Grammer pouring beers in South Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, it might be up by you, New Granada. Was it? God, where is it? I wish I could remember. I just saw it on Facebook. He's going to be somewhere
down here in the basement.
No.
I'm pretty sure anybody who's listening could Google that and figure it out pretty quick. But there's a nugget right there. That's why it's good, worth knowing, beer guys. And I guess that was going to lead me right to actually the question I think I forgot, which is, what New Jersey, and name a brewery or name a specific beer. Like, what's your favorite thing? What sort of tickles you right now and you're like, oh, that's just good stuff? Or either what they're doing or how they're doing it, all except a pretty wide range of answers. And figure you guys have seen a lot, and maybe that's even a tough question to narrow down.
There's quite a few. Yeah, there's quite a few. Like right now, the Seed Living Beer Project in Atlantic City, they're really doing some really good stuff. Slack Tide, they do some good stuff. Gusto, I think almost every brewery you can go into and at least find one beer that kind of knocks your socks off.
What do you like about that? Who's the brewery in Atlantic City you mentioned? I wasn't familiar with the name. And frankly, if you want to name drop and give me 30 seconds on each one of them, those will make great clips for this that we can tag them in on Instagram. They might love you guys. But I don't know, so feel free to take the floor and expound on each one a little bit. Give me a little color and sell me on them, because I'll be back in South Jersey shortly.
So where the Seed is located, it's kind of like in the inlet part, and they're part of a building that also houses Little Water Distillery, which is make really good spirits, and axe throwing. So that's a weird combination, but kind of good.
The Seed is known for really the quality of their beers. What was that? 2 years ago, they were voted best brewery in the United States.
Today, top 10.
Yeah,
wow.
That was a couple of years ago. The beers their beers are, speaking as a brewer, they are just superb. They're served properly. They are beautiful, beautiful beers. Now, one thing that they do use is down there in the Bridgeton area, beer starts with the malt that goes into it, the grain that goes into it. And they, for the most part, I don't know if all of their beers, there's a malt producer down by you. There's a farm, Rabbit Hill Farm, which is in Shiloh. And most of the grain that they get comes from Rabbit Hill Farm.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And it shows in the quality of the beer. But the beers are served perfectly. When you see a cartoon picture perfect photo or drawing of a beer with the perfect head on top. That's the way they serve their beers all the time, like that.
Damn,
And
that's
some of the other, that's a great description, Vic.
that's a glowing endorsement.
Yeah.
As far as like Slack Tide, they were like the kind of model that all the other breweries wanted to. They started out with a 3-barrel system, then went to a 10-barrel. Now they built a beautiful facility down in Claremont, I guess, exit 17 off the Parkway. Big, beautiful facility, outside, inside, and still putting out great beers. Gusto Brewing is all the way down at the end, right before you get on the ferry. Bear Brewing. There's probably 12, I think, right now in just Cape May County.
Down there in Cape May County, Tom, can't you just go right down that Route 9 corridor?
Yeah.
You just hit a lot of terrific breweries right along the way.
Yes, you can.
Our last podcast was from Ludlam, which is in Woodbine.
Yep. He
which
just moved
from a
into
small location out, and that's actually a brew pub now.
Yep. He serves food. He serves spirit, mixed drinks, cocktails from Little Water Distillery. He tries to keep everything local wines. They make their own birch beer, so they get a bourbon from a distillery up north near Toms River, I believe, and they make a bourbon and birch beer. And the barbecue is really good. It's an old bowling alley that he transformed into a beautiful, beautiful place.
Where's that located? Slack Tide?
Slack Tide is on Route 9 in Claremont, I believe.
I think that's Claremont.
Yeah. But yeah, as soon as you get off exit 17, you go up to Route 9, make a left, and it's about 5 miles down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is all good. Yeah, because I'm hanging out in Cumberland County quite regularly, and I've got a lot of love for Glasstown around the corner of
Glasstown. Love Paul and Jen. They're great people.
But variety is the spice of life.
Yeah.
Sure. And you got, a lot of them around them, but the great thing about that is you also got, like I said, the producer where everything starts right down there in Rabbit Hill. This is actually a brewery that's going to be, I guess I'll give them a plug, Tom, that's going to be in Vineland called Wanderback Beer Works. I don't know if you can see the can here.
Sure.
But right now they're contract brewing someplace else. Their place isn't ready. But this is actually their Pilsner, which is delicious. And, we talked about beer and beer trends, and I think that's where a lot of breweries are getting much more into Pilsners and, a Pilsner is a lager, lagers and Pilsners and lighter type beers.
Yeah.
I work at Manafurkin up in Ocean County, and last year we moved into a new brew house, which gives us the capability of producing more lagers and pilsner, which are a little more complicated to make than some of the ales. They take a lot longer, and they're much more particular, much more delicate type of beers.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize that a pilsner is probably one of the hardest beers to make because there's really nothing to hide behind. Mm-hmm. It's the ingredients and the recipe, and it better be good, or people are going to drink it.
Yeah, actually, very good point. I never thought of it that way. And I've painted myself into a corner at Glasstown with IPAs when I visit.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. They have their place, too, if you like them. He's got some terrific beers. He actually produced this year a delicious Mexican lager that he did. Do you remember the name of that one, Tom?
I don't, but I know that the Czech Pilsner that he made was really good,
nice
too.
Yeah, that's really good. But more breweries are getting into that. When the breweries first opened, Tom, a lager takes a lot longer than an ale to brew. You can have an ale ready to go in the tap in 2 weeks, from time of brew till time it's ready, sometimes quicker than that. A lager is going to take a lot longer because the lager yeast works slower. So that's actually fermented at a lower temperature, which takes a lot longer for the yeast to reach its maturity.
And when you would have a smaller brew house just starting out, you really couldn't tie up your
You'd have to tie
tanks
up the
for 6
fermenter.
weeks when you could bang out 3 beers in that time.
Exactly.
But now that people are getting bigger and have more stuff, then they can,
That's why when you see some of the macro advertising cold lagers, all lagers are cold. That's the way they ferment cold. A lager yeast is not going to survive at a high temperature, so it has to be done cold.
Yeah, I mean and also we do like traveling to other, just outside of New Jersey too. I've done a few articles on breweries in Pennsylvania. One, Hidden River. If you like IPAs, Hidden River is one you got to hit. It's in Pottstown, actually Douglasville, but it's considered Pottstown.
Do you feel like New Jersey or South Jersey has a style in aggregate?
I don't know so much as a style, but I it's hard not to find a good beer. I mean, everybody is really everybody's so competitive and get along so well, but that's what's good. They're trying to outdo each other, and we benefit from that.
and that's the one thing, and Tom's been doing this a long time, and me also, is the quality of the beers has gotten so good. It has gotten so good at the local breweries. Every brewery, I cannot think of one brewery that produces bad beer. Yeah, every brewery produces good, consistent beers.
Yeah, you're going to find one or two that really, you're like, I'll come back for that one. And then you'll find another one.
Oh, for sure.
Let's see, Summers Point. They have a brewery. That's my hometown, born and raised Summers Point. And actually, it was the old ice building. I grew up a block and a half from it. Thank God it wasn't there when I was younger, because I'd be stumbling distance from home every night.
What's the name of that brewery?
Summers Point Brewing Company. SOPO for short.
SOPO for sure.
Yeah.
And you could find a lot of times these breweries help revitalize a downtown area just by being there. I can think of an example. I worked in downtown Toms River for 40 years, and it was always the businesses were always very transient. You'd have a business here, a business there. Restaurant would be here this month, 3 months later, it'd be gone. Battle River Brewing opened there a few years ago, and that just brings people downtown all the time now. That's there. There's a distillery now next door to it. There's a lot of terrific restaurants. So a lot of times the breweries can help revitalize a downtown area. Not saying it's the sole thing that people are looking for, but it's something that would bring them down there. And like I said, the breweries don't survive unless you're making good beer.
Yep.
And that's one thing that we can always agree on. Tom, myself, and John, is that the beers have just gotten so much better in South Jersey and all across. Like Tom says, we like going outside of the state too. I love Dogfish Head down in Delaware. Is always a fun place to visit.
Yep. There's dogfish down there. There's a big oyster is really good.
Mm-hmm.
They make a Mexican lager. It's a play on Pacifico. It's called Atlantico. That is delicious. That's very good.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I had one can left of it from the last time we went down there. Crooked Hammock is a cool place down there.
That's right near the ferry, correct?
Yep. And Revelation is what you would think a brewery should be. It's a little off the beaten path. It's right near Dogfish Eats on Rehoboth Boulevard. About a 3/4 mile walk. It's just a little tiny brewery, but what's cool is you walk in, they have a chalkboard, they have the beer tenders' names written on it so you know who you're talking to. And it's just brings you back to the original, how breweries started out as. It's very small, very quaint, and great beer.
And I think they occupy a more destination-oriented rung on the hospitality ladder than bar/restaurant. So I think it's fair to say that they're going to be more of a draw, because I think when people are in town, every restaurant's pictures look great, but I don't know, brewery kind of puts it over the top. It's like, even if it's just okay, it's going to be pretty great if we go to a brewery and see where it's made and stuff like that. So I think it has way more of a destination, and I haven't looked up the Google searches, but that's an assumption that I'm willing to look foolish if I'm wrong about.
No, and I bet you everybody that's at the brewery, it's not going to be their first or last stop of the day at a brewery, because people say, oh, there's too many too close. No, people will line up and say, oh, I'm going to go hit this one, this one, this one.
Sure.
And you can't have too many breweries, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning before. Tom was talking about the Cape May County breweries. You zoom right down Route 9, and you got terrific breweries all the way down. Even where I am in Southern Ocean County, we have Manafurkin, which is right by Long Beach Island, right before you go over the bridge. You have Pinelands, which is a little bit further south, more toward Atlantic County.
Pinelands is very good.
Creek, right up Battle River, and Icarus, which was in Lakewood, New Jersey. They just moved into a brand new, huge facility. Actually increased their size probably 10 times.
Yeah, it's
and
gigantic,
it's a gorgeous,
massive,
2-level, beautiful, beautiful brewery.
You're describing what would make a perfect visitors map for vacationers at the Welcome Center. It's all the breweries. It's just breweries, by the way, but all the breweries down Route 9. Yeah, shoot, you're killing me, because this is something I haven't taken advantage of, and I've crossed Route 9 several times in the last, few months, and so I'm like, shoot, I gotta go the other side.
The other side too in Wildwood. Tony, be mad if we didn't mention.
Mud Hen Brewing in Wildwood.
Mud Hen Brewing in Wildwood. Not only terrific beers with a terrific brewer, they've actually won
great food
medals at the World Beer Cup year after year. But they also have some fantastic food there.
He just won a medal for his Wee Heavy.
And that's the second one that he's won for that particular beer.
Yep.
Now, you're raving about the menu. Expound on that a little bit. Let's feel free to take a hard left turn into the food side of the menu. What are they doing there that has you both clearly pretty fired up about what they're doing?
Yeah, Tom, you're the foodie guy more than me.
Yeah, so I love the wings. Their brisket is really good. Everything. I've had their salads. Pretty much every single thing they make is delicious.
It's really good, and it's nice. There's a lot of parking. They had an extension that they were building on there, the station house?
It's completed. It is completed. He tore down an old Chinese restaurant on the corner and built this big, beautiful station house, it's called, but it's just another catering hall, separate kitchen and everything, but it's all connected. All the properties are connected.
And what's the name of this establishment?
Area. Mud Hen Brewing.
Mud Hen, that's
Mud
right.
Hen, yeah. They named it after the train that used to run, because it would have to go through some mud sometimes. There was a train that ran through in Wildwood, and they called it the Mud Hen. There's great artwork in there.
And I guess, is Cape May, is that the largest craft brewery in the state now, Tom?
As far as production?
Yeah, I think it is.
I would say as far as production, yeah.
Wow.
That's in Cape May Brewing. And
that's
I remember
at the airport in Cape May County.
A one-room bar.
Yeah, it was tiny before they first opened.
A lot of great growth of the breweries, as long as, just like any other business, Tom, as long as it's managed properly. As long as it's managed properly, and as long as your product is good.
Yeah, if you make it 5 years, you're making good beer. That's how I feel. If you've lasted 5 years, you should be able to continue on. Another thing we were doing right before COVID hit is I started doing Jitney tours for the South Jersey beer scene. I think it was
that's awesome.
$100. $100. We would hit 4 breweries. For that $100 was the Jitney ride. You would get a flight at each place. I would have pretzel and cheese cracker trays and everything like that, water, and I would pack another cooler with ice empty to encourage buying packaged goods at these places, and you could put it right in the cooler. And that was just starting to really take off, and that was right when COVID hit. The last one I did was, I think, January. We hit Bonesaw, Action Arrow, Neck of the Woods, and Core 3. And that was a great one.
Well, I know for a fact that those sort of brewery caravans are back. Right. Whether or not you guys have jumped back into it, because I just intermittently, if I can pop into Glasstown, and they'll have one on the schedule, or there'll be one there where it's like, a whole busload of people unload, and they're, it's not going to be their first or their last stop, and they're not going to spend all day. So
no, most breweries hope that they are the first or second stop. They never want to be the last stop.
Yeah, no doubt.
They never want to be the last stop, because then, breweries, I bartended at Tuckahoe Brewing, which has since closed. And you really never had the problem of stop serving somebody, because normally they would come in, they wouldn't belly up to the bar for 5 hours. They would come in, have a beer or two, and then move on or go to dinner or whatever. So you really never had to, there were a couple times I had to cut people off or take their keys, or a couple times I had to drive one person home twice. He lived right down the street, and I'm like, nope, I'm driving you home.
Yeah. I'm part of the public, and I know what I'm like.
Yeah, like I said, most of the breweries, are we the first stop? Okay, they're like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, there are several of them now. There also still is, throughout the beer festival season, sometimes is a way to get acquainted with some breweries that you may not be familiar with, and may not be aware of. In Stafford Township, every August there's Manahawkin is a beer festival there. They usually have about 30, and I've been stewarding the beer judging, because we judge the beers that the breweries enter. And Tom has judged for the last few years there, and the winner 2 of the last 3 years is actually a brew pub up in Aberdeen, which is in Monmouth County, called Alternate Ending. Again, without a festival like that, there's probably a lot of people in Ocean County that wouldn't even be aware of that particular brewery, which makes fantastic beers.
I do love festivals, but, it seems like some of the breweries, it's like more of a hassle for them now than it used to be, which is a shame, but I get it. It is festival overload, but I just love them. I love all of them. That's the whole point, is to find something that you haven't had before.
Mm-hmm.
Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival was pretty much like the godfather of it. It started 17, 18 years ago, and it was called the Celebration of the Suds originally. And it was at Convention Hall, and I think it was $25 for 8 hours, 10 hours or something. And then they realized that, nope, we got to cut it into 4-hour sessions. Mm-hmm. Can't give people unlimited beer for 10 hours. But that's still going strong.
Yeah. I've been to that.
I look forward to it. You've been to that one? Have you been in the outside one and inside? Or
I think it was inside when I went.
Yeah. He just brought it back inside. He went outside for COVID, and he liked it at Bader Field in Atlantic City.
Oh, okay.
Because of COVID, and kept it out there for a couple of years, and people wanted it back inside. So this year he brought it back inside in April, and it was well attended. And then he had a double session on a Saturday in July, and the ticket he had to cancel 2 weeks out. The ticket sales just weren't there. But if you remember, there was a lot of hot weather before that. Like the summer started off extremely hot, and for me, there's always a breeze on Bader Field. It's always cooler there. I didn't see a problem with the heat, so it was a shame that we had to cancel. But It'll be back. I think he already dropped some hints that it's definitely inside. I'm not sure if it's going to be outside next year. Inside
I
at the
think
end of March.
it's going to be March or something, correct?
March 29th, I believe. He just put March 29th and left it up to us to figure out what he's talking about. So
I understand the pain of the brewers who are like, oh, geez, it's almost like they're like they're in a band. They got to load up the van with a bunch of stuff. It's like, hospitality / manufacturing is either one of those is a big enough pain in the neck. But then you throw in, oh, now we have to, get a van and do the garage band thing next weekend with a crew. Like, that's a workout.
Yeah. And it's, it was originally a way for people to find out about these places. But now with social media and everything, that's free advertising there. And it's kind of like you were saying, a garage band that kind of made it. They don't need to play the smaller venues anymore, or it's a hassle, and it's a shame because that's the spirit of it all. The festivals are what I like the most. I really enjoy them.
Well, which is Atlantic City the Can't Miss Festival, or is there a specific festival that you think is, because you can only get to so much stuff anyway? So if there was one and somebody said, "Hey, pick a festival in Jersey for me," that'll be really cool and fun.
Well, once they started adding music to it, like last summer, the Sunday he had 311 playing. So people bitch about you're paying $75 for a ticket. You pay that more than that just to go see 311. Now you're going to throw 4 hours of free beer and fun and activities, and and it was a great show. I mean, it was great. And the day before that was the Dropkick Murphys. So once he started adding the music into it, that was just a whole other thing. But yeah, I would say Atlantic City Beer Music Festival is the can't miss.
Well, that's the granddaddy.
That's the godfather.
Yeah, Tom, when we actually had John on a podcast, he kind of helped the state make the rule for other beer festivals in the state.
Yep. John Henderson, who runs that for Good Time Tricycle Productions, he sat with the state and penned a lot of the rules for these festivals because they were just starting to. He did one, and everybody wanted to do one.
Cool niche.
So that's pretty. Yeah. I would say that one. There's the Manahopkin one is pretty nice. It's a smaller one. Glassboro Beer Festival.
Yeah, so I think Burlington has one coming up too in September.
Yeah, the Central Jersey Beer Fest. I've worked that a couple times. That's a cool one. That's in a sporting complex, fairgrounds type place. I mean, it's like a whole city inside this place, and that's pretty good too.
Yeah, I need to get to one of these. It's the other one I have been to was, I think isn't there one at a racetrack? There was, or oh shoot, I'm trying to say the racetrack it wasn't Atlantic City. I thought there was a racetrack in Jersey that had a beer festival there that accompanied races, and this is going back at least a decade, but I remember it being quite the rip-roaring good time. It didn't even occur to me until right this second, and have no idea exactly which racetrack it was at.
I'm trying to remember. Maybe Monmouth Park up north, further north, or South Jersey. Monmouth Park did one a while ago, I believe.
It might have been. It might have been. I think it probably was.
Yeah, I don't know. Did the Millville? Did they do one? The racetrack there. I don't remember one being there.
Oh, I'm sure that they probably get trucks or something from breweries for events. Right. Would be my guess. Like they probably get breweries in. I'd be surprised if they didn't. And of course, they do have food service themselves. Who knows what they do in terms of supplying beer over there? Yeah, that's quite an operation. That place. That's a really neat addition to the countryside. Is like music to my ears on a Saturday morning, and you just hear those engines whining like an orchestra. All right, what else you got? Are there anything, any new breweries or any new kids on the block? And then the other question I had that you can take a swing at if there aren't any new kids on the block was, if somebody says food and brewery, what's the short list that just pops in your head that have that combo down?
There's only a couple. Really, the Mud Hen and Ludlam, right off the top of my head, are the only two that I know.
Yeah.
There is a new brewery in Cape May County, Myers Lighthouse Brewing.
Yeah.
And that's in Ocean View, which it's right on Route 9. It's about 5 miles from Slack Tide. They have a mini golf. It was a mini golf place.
That's fun. Tom and we failed miserably at our tournament.
Actually, we won most honest because we didn't cheat.
That's why you failed.
Yeah. Nobody would put down a 67 over if they didn't really shoot that.
That's actually the newest brewing, Cape May, and
that's
Myers
new.
Brewing in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's in Philly too.
And Mike Myers, the owner, he lives around by that area in Cape May County, and he wanted to open one there. So he's actually got your old brewer from Tuckahoe as the head brewer there, Andrew.
Yeah,
Andrew is the head brewer there, and. The one thing you see, Tom, I think the brewers are kind of, and the folks that work there are it's kind of incestuous. But, one brewer will move from here to another one and everything. And actually, at Manafurkin, our head brewer we have there was the head brewer at Tuckahoe. Tuckahoe closed, and he's the head brewer at Manafurkin now. So, like I said, very, very incestuous. A lot of people, they know each other, and like I said, the community is fantastic.
It's not odd for a brewer to call another brewer and say, "Hey, I'm short. I need this hop. What do you have?" And then they'll swap. They'll trade off, or they're always willing to help. And that just proves that they know they're confident in their own beer. They don't mind helping somebody else because they know their beer is solid.
Not only that, but the more good breweries a good brewery has in its neighborhood, the more you just became the Disneyland of breweries instead of just a place where there is one brewery. So it's like, if it gets crazy weird how many great breweries there are in South Jersey, well, fantastic. That's not a threat to you as a great brewer. That's just becoming more illuminated to a broader, larger audience who likes beer.
Well, like I said, rarely does a group of people go out and say, we're going to one brewery today. Yeah. Usually they're hitting 2 or 3, at least. Or 6 or 7, or is that just me?
And like I said, it's such a great sense of community. Like, as I said, I run the Ocean County Home Brewers, and we have our monthly meetings, and we go to a different brewery in Ocean County. So the brewers not only get to meet and talk about our own brews, etc., but we'll have the head brewer, the owner of the particular brewery. They'll talk about their process. They'll talk to the brewers about different beers that they're making. So it's an educational experience for them. Plus, like I said, it's a great way to get to know the owners and the folks that do work at these brewers.
Yeah, and I've judged some of Vic's Club's beers. Like they'll have at the other breweries, they'll have a judging contest, and it's amazing. Like home brewers are putting out some really, really good beers. Really good beers. I remember the one that he wasn't so happy about, but I liked, was when you guys did the California Common, which is basically the first original American recipe for beer. Yeah. From Anchor Brewing, which is since closed.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So the only thing what he had, only had 7 guys try to make it, and I forget who won, but that guy really knocked it out of the park. It was by far the best California Common.
Yeah, our breweries. I actually didn't brew it. I actually didn't do that. I usually don't participate in those competitions within the breweries, but yes, and went to a tri-state or a tri-county competition, and the brewery that we went to, which I won't mention now because it's not open anymore, they selected a beer that was not a California Common because that's the one they wanted to brew.
Mm-hmm.
I used to Anchor Steam was my jam for a bit as a younger man.
Yeah.
I thought they made a wonderful beer.
That was a good beer. Yeah.
And that, like I said, that was the original American recipe. That was the first
Yeah.
American recipe.
Yeah, it's not it's not very common or well produced, and there's very few breweries that actually make it California common.
Summers Point Brewing Company makes one. It's called Jetty Jump. Summers Point Brewing. It's called Jetty Jump. It's their California common, and whenever I see it on the menu, I try to make it in there for one.
Yeah. Again, that's a different style of beer. There's just so many totally different styles. That's why it's a great hobby and type of business to get into, because you're always doing something different, no matter what. Always doing something different.
Well, it's chemistry, mixology. Like there's a lot. It's agriculture. It's like winemaking in that respect. Like it's several industries before you've done several industries before you've got a glass of beer.
Yeah,
at the end of it.
Absolutely.
The timing, yeah.
Oh yeah, where you've got a recipe, quote unquote, in your head, and then Mother Nature brings some sort of weather event to your backyard that changes whatever you can get out of it.
Yeah, or you change the timing of your hop additions or something. That's why.
Oh sure.
It's nice when you can take your recipe and put it to pen and stop using pencil, because it's trial and error.
How long does it take till you get curious and start messing around with some new recipe and putting yourself through the same rigmarole?
Probably as soon as you master the one, you move on to the next one.
I had a feeling.
Well, there's certain, even as a home brewer, Tom, there's certain beers that you just do every year, a certain time of year. You'll do a particular beer this time of year. Okay, like I know, like come February, I have to do an Irish stout for St. Patrick's Day, or an Irish red. Later on in the fall, it may be some kind of dessert stout that I have to brew or something. But you do like to switch it up and do things a little bit differently. I was talking to Tom before. I've been doing a beer, a raspberry wheat beer, for probably 14 years now. And this year I changed it up. I actually did it as a sour, to give it a little different flavor, a little different taste. And that's done by using sour yeast instead of regular ale yeast.
I've liked a few sours. I'm more of I've painted myself into the IPA corner, no thanks to Paul and Jen at Glasstown.
Yeah.
Yeah. IPAs are still, they're still on the top of the sales list. You have to have IPAs in the breweries. But they're still at the top of the sales list. There's some other beers that may inch up there, but the IPAs are still at the top of the list.
When people ask me, like, what's your favorite beer, I'm inclined to say what's in that season. I'm a seasonal beer guy, and fall is my season. I like the fall beers. I like the Märzens, the darker stuff, the Oktoberfest.
This is starting to be pumpkin beer season too.
The best way to drink pumpkin beer?
I don't love pumpkin beer, but this is the season that
you open a pumpkin beer and you dump it out. That's how you do it. Now there's a couple that actually, I believe it was Pinelands made a sweet potato beer. I think.
Okay.
That was really good. Kind of like just like a pumpkin.
Right.
The ones that are like not real strong with the nutmeg, I can definitely appreciate. But the ones that are too spiced or too thick, and that's just me. I mean, that's why everybody's got their own. That's why they make chocolate and vanilla, I say. Everybody likes them. Some people like them. Some people don't.
Is there anything coming up in terms of short term of events people should look out for? Or do you guys have a plan to do another visit on your podcast anyway?
We're trying to get Wanderback to do one, but I'm sure they're busy.
They're tied up in their production. Actually, we may be out at Glasstown at some. I saw Paul a couple of months ago out there. I said, we're going to come out here and do one. So that may be one. Concrete on the schedule right now, not right now, but we probably will have something coming up in the near future.
And is Glassboro Beer Fest coming up?
Glassboro Beer Festival is next month. Yeah.
Yeah, it's towards the end of September. It is. Yep.
I think that's like the weekend of the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
So
the cool one that I love every year. This will be like the 5th year, I think, is Witchcraft by the same guy that does AC Beer Fest. It's out in Paradise Lakes Campground. It's a Halloween themed beer festival.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is awesome. I love getting dressed up. And I camp out there for the whole weekend. There's no running water or anything, but it's cool. It's fun.
That's a podcast episode right there. That's amazing. A Halloween beer festival. Oh,
and
man.
He's got some good acts. I actually have a wooden carved pumpkin. He has this woman out there in spandex with a chainsaw carving up stuff, and she sells it. And a lot of the breweries go all out with their decorations of their tent, and it's so much fun.
If you can't have fun walking around like drinking beer dressed like Michael Myers, I don't want to hang out with you anyway. That's what I'm saying. This is the greatest event I've heard of yet. Oh, we could have talked about this for 45 minutes. I'd not have been entertained. This is solid gold. Yeah, what a great niche.
I think October 11th and 12th. It's right off 206 at Paradise Lakes Campground. It's like a defunct campground that they have all kinds of weird festivals out there.
That's great.
It's like a 1.5 mile road all to get back there, so it is kind of creepy once you get back there.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last 2 years from that, I was at the festival in Denver. This year, I'll be in Denver again for the Great American Beer Festival. That's actually the largest one in the Northern Hemisphere, or in the Western Hemisphere, the Great American Beer Fest in Denver.
Yeah, that's the big one where everybody sends their beers to be judged. If you get a medal from there, you're doing something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You are.
It's a good place for it. Do you guys have any URLs or social media to share? And is there anything we didn't cover?
Well, I guess it's Facebook, South Jersey Beer Scene. That's really the best place to get us. If you want to find our podcast that we've done in the past, Spotify, Amazon Music, etc., you can find past podcasts on there. If you check YouTube, we do have a YouTube channel too. You could find some of them. Again, everything's under South Jersey Beer Scene.
Yep. The website's cool too because you can click on the breweries and then it'll break it down by counties. You click on the counties, then it'll give you the list of all the breweries in that county. Mm-hmm. And you can archive all the stories, all the articles.
Yeah, Tom.
Vic, is your T-shirt, is that hashtag? Is that a South Jersey Beer Scene hashtag? Because it's pretty darn clever.
Is South Jersey Beer Scene. Is this still valid, right?
Yeah.
Hashtag enjoy local beer. Yeah. This is
well done. Proper product placement. Yeah. That was exquisitely executed, and that's a great hashtag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy local.
I'll take credit for that.
I would if I could. That's good. That's great work. Slow clap.
Because, And turn around, Vic. Show them the logo.
Turn around. It's got the logo on the back.
Oh, you got to stand up.
I am standing up, Tom.
Well, at least Stevie Wonder can see it.
You've got the executive chair back, though, Vic.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, now we're talking.
Perfect. The hop turtle. Everybody loves turtles.
All right, South Jersey Beer Scene, Tom and Vic. Oh, and I would say this. I know for sure I've got permission from the big boss, Meg Horner. If you guys ever, for announcement purposes, or if there's any way, shape, or form, you see us as a soapbox and megaphone for any sort of conversation, we focus a great deal on history, agriculture, business development, and you guys talk about things that really honestly fall under those umbrellas in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the whole reason why we started it, just to get the information out to people so they can enjoy what we already know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you guys ever want to promote a, I don't know, you're doing a your want to promote your Christmas episode, come on in January after you post it. Like, that's simple. Okay. We'd be happy to hear about what it is that you covered. So I guess with that, we've covered everything. That's South Jersey Beer Scene. Vic and Tom, on behalf of Meg Horner, I'm Tom Ritter. I guess we'll sign off now. What I will tell you.
Okay, Tom, thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Cheers.